Welcome to the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and this is the place to get all the information on what's going on inside the athletic department at IU Kokomo. And joining us for today's show once again, it is the Assistant Athletic Director at IUK. It's my buddy, Grant Patterson. Grant, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Jay. Coming off the first week of athletics being in full swing at IU Kokomo, so it's great to be back in the studio.
You know, it's great to be back here with you because last week, we got a chance, I say we, because Grant, Gabe, and I, the producer of this show, were there as well to watch IUK's volleyball team. They played 4 matches in basically 24 hours. It was a weird stretch. But during that stretch, in one of those games, Grant, they knocked off the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. First of all, very weird stretch to begin the season in volleyball. At the NAIA level, at least, you're going to play at least 4 early season tournaments where you play at minimum 3 matches in 24 hours. So a grueling stretch. And day 2, they get a win over number 1 Indiana Wesleyan, but that comes after on day 1, first match of the season, first match for this new group of girls and this team, and they go out and beat number 6 Midland, cruise to a sweep over Wilberforce, and then just an absolutely gritty battle against number 1 squad Indiana Wesleyan, a team that's the defending national champions, the team that knocked us out of the tournament last year, the team that went undefeated last year, hadn't lost since November 19th of 2022. Well, that's no longer. That was last week, and they lost on August 16th of 2024, thanks to our squad and the 16th-ranked Cougars coached by Heather Hayes. It was impressive last week, Jay.
You know, that team that we got to watch last week, it was very impressive, and I was looking forward to seeing some of the newer faces on part of the volleyball team. We talked about it a little bit in the offseason about there were some players that graduated that were very pivotal to the successful season the team had last year, and there were some girls this year, Grant, that stepped up, not just in the IU win, but being 3-1, first 4 matches. That's great. Who are some people that maybe got recognized for how well they played over the weekend?
Yeah, obviously you would like to close the weekend for the match that you guys were there for. You'd like to close it 4-0, especially when you have 2 big wins over top 6 teams like that. Closing 4-0 gives you the opportunity to move further up, but we're not here for the rankings middle of the year, or not even middle of the year, first weekend of the year. We're here for the long run, and we know rankings don't matter. So I'm sure the team's already over that loss. But, yeah, 2 individuals got honored already, week 1 of River State's Conference Player of the Week awards, 2 honorees. Complete opposites, if you will. One's a senior, one's a freshman. Ellie Garland, defensive specialist, first-year libero for IU Kokomo. She's been waiting her turn. She's done a hell of a job playing her role as a defensive specialist in the back row in years past. Stepped up in a big way at Nationals last year at the final site. And then she did the same. Against Midland, she recorded 36 digs. You don't see that often. That's a 4-set match, so I'm sure that's knocking on the door of a school record. We'll know at the end of the year. But really, she finished in the 80s, I believe, with total digs on the week. She had 25 digs against Midland. Just a uber impressive weekend. 61 digs between 2 matches against top 6 teams in the nation. She really kept her team in it with some incredible plays to keep the ball alive, keep the rally alive, and just when you think we're out of the point, we're back in the point because Ellie Garland's our libero. So shout out to Ellie there for earning River State's Conference Defender of the Week honors. And then on the offensive side, although she didn't just play offensively, she played all 6 positions for a majority of the weekend, freshman Maya Grigsby out of Greenfield. I think there's 2 words to describe her, Jay. Freshman phenom. And I use that in the article. She is definitely a phenom. We saw that firsthand. She got over 50 swings against number 6 Midland in her first ever collegiate match. That shows you the level of trust that not only the coaching staff have in her, but the players to be feeding her that much, and especially her 2 setters in Kaylee Lyons and Allison Richmond. But hey, she steps up, has 46 kills, 43 digs, 11 service aces. She's tied for 4th in the nation in service aces through 1 week of play. Doesn't get much better than that from a freshman, I don't think.
No, it does not. One thing I don't normally do here on the show is talk about injuries, but if we're there and Grant's there, we might touch on it a little bit on the show. Unfortunately, there was a young player, I believe it's Mia Niekamp, suffered a knee injury. Do you have any update about that, Grant, from her knee injury? I believe that was in the match against Grace.
Yeah, final match of the weekend. It's an absolute bummer to see a player go down, no matter who it is, but especially a player of that stature who we rely on a good amount. No update on Mia at all. You know, one thing about Mia is she's always got a smile on her face, and that's the one thing. Even when she goes down, she has the smile on her face, so you can never really tell how much pain she's in. But thoughts and prayers, thoughts and well wishes go out to Mia and her family, and hopefully we hope to have her back on the court this year, but if not, she still has years of eligibility remaining. So that's no worries. We'll get her back as soon as we can. I know that's the mindset she has.
Yeah.
We'll get over this. This is just what they had in store for me, and I'll be back better than ever.
You know, Grant, that was a fun weekend to start off the season for the volleyball team, 3-1. What's up for them this week?
Yeah, this week they head up to Fort Wayne. They'll play in one of the bigger preseason tournaments of the season and all of the NAI. I think I heard Lori Elson, our assistant, say around 27 teams they'll converge on Fort Wayne, Indiana. So Fort Wayne, not our state capital, but still one hell of a good-sized city. They'll host 27 NAI volleyball teams. I believe 2 will be from the city of Fort Wayne and Bethel and St. Francis. But some good competition yet again. We'll only play one team ranked in the top 25. That'll be our final match of the weekend and the host Pilots. But a chance to play against some good competition. We've got Xavier of Louisiana coming all the way up. Fisk will come up. And then our other match, I'm drawing a blank, but Aquinas. That's a good team out of Michigan. A really good program that's taken a couple steps back up in the past year or two after a couple down years. So another tough weekend of non-conference play, and then they'll head to Omaha next weekend for yet another tough weekend of non-conference play. And if you want to beat the best, you got to play the best first off, Jay.
You're correct. And one thing I want to encourage everyone to do is to get out and watch this team play. Before they even play their first home match of the season, Marion was not that far away. Fort Wayne's also not that far away. Grant just mentioned they're going to Omaha, which is far away. If you have nothing going on this weekend, head out to Fort Wayne. Head up there. It's about an hour and a half drive, if that.
If that, for sure.
Trust me, get out there. There's plenty to do in Fort Wayne. My wife was talking about, hey, we want to take our little one to the zoo. Okay, there's a zoo in Fort Wayne that if we were able to, we're not able to this weekend, but if we were, we could watch some volleyball and go to the zoo as a family and knock off both of those things, check both those things off our to-do list that weekend. So, Grant, I know you'll be looking to see people that are out there at the volleyball match that maybe you didn't see at Marion, but you see them in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, we saw our fan support is top-notch, especially with their volleyball program. First of all, a lot of it stems from our parents.
Yeah.
I mean, those parents travel really well. Shout out to them for being willing to take the time off work to see their daughters compete. Most of these girls don't go on to play professional volleyball and professional sports at the NAIA level. They're going into the workforce. So these girls' last few years of competing, and our volleyball parents really do a good job. Not that our other sports parents don't, but volleyball, the tight-knit camaraderie amongst the parents really, I think, helps the team on the court as well.
You know, we didn't do much talking about soccer yet on the show, but they were also busy last weekend. They weren't in the state of Indiana. Grant, they went down to Georgia for their first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, they went down to the Peach State, as I like to call it. Went down to Savannah, played a SCAD Savannah team, Savannah College of Art and Design team that was 14th in the nation according to the polls. But after watching that match and talking to our coaching staff, I believe they're probably a top 5 team in the nation. Wow. Completely on point. Had 350 passes completed in one match. That's very high-level soccer being played by the Bees of SCAD. So shout out to them on their win over us in the first match of the season. And then the soccer team headed north on their way home. Obviously, they're going to head north to come back to Kokomo, but they made a stop in Dalton, Georgia to take on the Roadrunners of Dalton State Saturday. The women were leading in the 67th minute when the match was suspended due to inclement weather. Mackenzie Gibbons scored a goal in the 12th minute, was assisted by Kaya Bogers. Unfortunately for both of them, those stats do not count. Neither does Tex's 7 saves. Tex, our goalie, had 7 saves and a clean sheet working, so I'm sure she's bummed about that. But unfortunately, according to NAI rules, you have to play 70 minutes for a match to be final. We did not, and we were unable to make the matchup, being that they're in Georgia. So 0-1 after essentially 2 matches played, but knowing that we were 23 minutes away from getting back to 500, I think has to give the soccer team and Coach Sohaila Akavine and Mia Moody a bit of positivity to preach on this week, if you will, but also to build upon heading into our first home match of the year.
First home match of the year. Is that this week?
Yeah, first home match of the year is this Friday, August 23rd, and that's after they play just down the road in Indianapolis. Wednesday night, they're playing the Marion University, number 19 in the nation, so start off with number 14, then you have a break, then you play number 19, and the non-conference schedule is not going to get any easier for the Lady Cougars, but as I just said, if you want to beat the best and be the best, you have to play the best, and that's exactly what our programs are doing.
Grant, soccer, it's always fun to watch them play.
Yeah.
If people can't go, and I say that because I know there's a lot going on Friday. We all know what's coming up this Friday for the high school football players. Let's say they want to watch them and do a little double duty. Is that an option for them?
Of course. Every one of our IU Kokomo home events will be streamed. All you got to do is go to iukcougars.com. It's a super, super simple URL to remember. It's literally our school name, iukcougars.com. And then go to Fan Zone. Fan Zone will have a Watch IU Kokomo Sports Network link. It'll have a live stats link. So if you're driving down the road, you probably can't watch the game unless you're a daredevil. You're going to choose the live stats option. That's fine. Our streams are completely free though, so it's not like if you can't watch the whole match, that's fine. It's free. So stop in and watch the first 5 minutes or whatever you can. Always readily available on IU Kokomo Cougar Sports Network, I believe it's called. But yeah, check out our website under the Fan Zone link, and then all of our social medias, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll always have game day post out on the specific team's page, and then they'll have links to the proper location as well.
Last thing I got here for you today, Grant, there are people that have heard us talk a lot over the past couple weeks, especially today, about volleyball, about soccer. Those are just two of the fall sports that are going on at IUK this fall season. When is everything else getting underway?
Yeah, honestly, I think the best answer to that is next week. Next week, all of our sports begin competition. All of our sports have been practicing. Our fall sports, obviously. All of our fall sports have been practicing. Cross country is fully on campus. Tennis, both golfs are in the midst of that. So next week, I know both cross country, they may be the next week. I believe cross country is the next week, but men's and women's golf begins at IU East next Friday, I believe the 30th. And then women's tennis begins September 4th. So it's just volleyball and soccer right now for the remainder of this week and the most of next week. And then next weekend, we'll get into more than just the two mainstay fall sports in volleyball and soccer. And we'll hit the road, join in on some golf fun, women's tennis, esports. It's all just around the corner. Cross country as well.
Forgive me, Nick Lazy. I forgot about esports. It was in my head a couple minutes ago, and then it slipped my mind when I mentioned that question there. But you can't forget esports either. They were very successful in their first semester of being a sport at IUK, and looking for more of the same success from Nick Lazy and the group that he is leading there in the esports program. I appreciate Grant for coming on the show once again. He is the assistant athletic director at IUK, and this has been the Cougar Cast. Let's do that again, Gabe. And this has been the Cougar Cast. We'll see you next time.